Mate, and welcome to Friday Facts number 432. I have Aquilo, and I also have Frozen Mojo. How you doing, mate?
Pretty good. I'm just warming up with a nice warm cup of coffee.
It's a little bit early in the morning, but a perfect time for a warm cup of coffee because the first planet has a small problem. It's a small heating problem. Yeah. So we finally get to hear about the last planet officially. In its day, and the stars twinkle in the dark sky, you can count the planet's sun amongst the stars. Large and brighter than the others, but still so dim you can barely feel its warmth at all. Howling wind chills you to the bone and gently rocks the iceberg you're sitting on. The planet has no land, an ocean world full of liquid ammonia. Welcome, C block. One continuous ocean covers the entire planet, and it's at least 200 kilometers deep. The best landing spot you could find was this large iceberg, a sheet of ice only a few meters thick and seems to contain a lot of trapped air, but frozen water is a very solid material as long as it stays cold. It's able to support a landing pad, so that's good enough. You sit on the edge of the ice watching the snow flow. It gracefully deposits itself on your frozen machines. Some machines, chemical plants, transport belts, and inserters, all frozen in place, unable to move. In the distance, you spot columns of teal gas, fluorine bubbling up from the depths. It's one of the resources you're here for, but out of reach for now. There seems to be plenty of oil, most likely from microorganisms in the core. Making fuel on site shouldn't be a problem as soon as the refinery is unfrozen. You take the time to plan your next moves, collecting ice from the surrounding ocean to extend the platform, heating towers to warm your buildings, heat pipes to move the heat around, and concrete to make sure that heat doesn't melt the ice. The thought of running heat pipes through all your designs is starting to make your head spin, but it's okay, don't panic. There's one thing you do have on this planet, it's time. A flurry of shooting stars distracts you for a moment. You can't help but wonder if they're little meteorites burning up in the atmosphere, or the remaining parts of the space platform that dropped you here. Yep.
Foreboding.
Yeah, the space platform barely made it to this planet and never made it out of orbit. You got out just in time. Hopefully a replacement platform will be here soon if it survives. There's a clinking sound behind you as the landing pad opens its hatch. You see a formation of cargo ponds descend through the atmosphere. It's time to build. And then we get a pretty little video.
Love a good planet reveal video.
Oh, yeah.
There's your teal gas just in the corner.
Yeah.
Gotta love everything frozen.
Yeah.
All the snow.
Look, this is your Christmas map right here. Right here.
This is Factorio Christmas.
Yeah.
Just in time for the for autumn as well.
Well, it's probably going to take you 2 months to get here, let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
It's there's a couple of challenges you need to overcome along the way. And also some challenges when you get here, like heating everything up so it actually works.
I do appreciate the heat pipes glowing.
They've glowed for a long time. They seem to glow more. Or maybe this is just this video.
This is definitely tweaked for this video because when they glow like that, that's like 999 degrees.
Yeah, I think I have a feeling that for this little scenario, they just the heat pipes are maxed out at 100 degrees rather than 1,000. That's why they go red so quick. Yep. So we have a new planet. It's a slightly different challenge to all the other challenges we've had before us. We have obviously go back to the start. We have Vulcanus, which is it's
hot lava world.
Hot lava world, and you get lots of iron and copper. Yeah, infinite amounts of iron and copper. And then we're going to move on to what's the next one? Fagola.
Fagola.
Yep.
Scrapland.
Scrapland, which you just get to work the whole crafting cube backward. And then we're going to move on to Moldy Planet, where you need to deal with a whole new mechanic being mold.
And pentapods.
Yeah, and pentapods. That's
wrigglers. So many wrigglers.
That's a different story entirely. And then you're going to finally end up on a new planet, which, if you haven't seen it, you probably have. It has C-block mechanics, so you need to make more ground to build on, which is something...
Technically, wouldn't it be ammonia block?
Well, no, they say water.
Yo, it's liquid ammonia with chunks of ice in it.
Yeah. It's I'm gonna go with, it looks like ice. It's probably got a lot of water in it. We're gonna go with water. You need to take the water, you need to freeze the water to make more land to build on. And then at the same time, you also need to heat all the machines so they work, which is definitely a brand new mechanic. And
That's definitely a new one, yes.
yeah, challenge and a half. So, a liquid planet. Aquilo doesn't have any land, it has a few icebergs floating around, and the building space is very restricted. If you use an offshore pump in the ammonia ocean, you don't get water. You get mostly liquid ammonia, but with some ice particles floating in it, you can separate these in a chemical plant. These substances have plenty of uses, but among them is the ability to make ice platform. Ice platform allows you to extend the iceberg and extend your building area. Making ice platform can be a slow process, so it's good to scale this process when you have spare energy and heat. But heat is the next big mechanic. It's a wonderful twist the way you build. Most things on Aquilo freeze if they're not heated. And then we have a collection of frozen machines, which, funnily enough, they've hand painted.
Yeah.
Which look, don't get me wrong, looks great, and I understand why they hand painted it. It makes sense to hand paint like all these different assets because at the end of the day, they don't have that many assets. But also means that because it's not a some sort of AI magic overlay thing that you can put on things, it means that modders can't use it. Which I'd like a half snowy version for Christmas theme maps, just going forth, because I've done a Christmas map every year, a Christmas community map for a number of years now, and trying to find snow assets is really hard, actually, really hard. So just a personal little bit of disappointment. But heat is generated by a heating tower, which burns chemical fuel that can be made locally, or a nuclear reactor, which requires imports from Narvis. So uranium became way more important. Heating tower is interesting as a burner because it's more like a reactor. It continues to consume fuel even at max temperature, as well as heating. This is a good way to get rid of anything burnable, which means it can be very useful on Gleba. Yeah, because you can burn spoilage. Yeah. And on Gleba you're gonna have probably just a few items that spoil. Yeah.
Yeah, just one or two.
Yeah.
Definitely not that much of an issue.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. So we have the heating tower from line art, concept art, both inactive and active, and then final graphics. And I gotta say, it's a cute little building. I really like it. I really like it.
It's very nice, isn't it? It's cool.
It is. Both the heating tower
when it's hot.
Well, it's still nice. It's still nice. It's just nice and hot. Yeah. Both the heating tower and the nuclear reactor are heat sources. They spread heat to adjacent entities, but they only need to get the entity up to 30 degrees for it to thaw. That's been in some places like Outpost, going for higher temperatures is a waste. So it's one of the reasons we added the ability to read the temperature of heat sources and control them with circuits. Heat sources, being able to warm adjacent things that touch them, is very limiting. Instead, you use heat pipes to move heat around all the entities. Adjacent to connected heat pipes, including diagonally, but every entity needs to also consume heat. The effect is minor per entity, but can result in a lot of heat loss over long distances. So sometimes you want hotter heat sources so that heat can travel further. Yeah, that's an ongoing issue with just heat pipes and nuclear reactors, because there is that heat fall off the further the heat pipes go, and that's something you're going to have to be acutely aware of now.
Especially with controlling temperature, because it means the temperature at the end may not necessarily be enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting challenge, a new challenge. Yeah. Heat pipes and heat wheels would melt the ice. To protect the ice that keeps you floating, you place concrete or refined concrete as an insulator. Bricks won't work. The practice just means that most entities can't be placed directly on ice. We don't actually turn the ice into ocean anymore. Oh, that sounds unfortunate. Because then you could unlandfill areas. I wonder. So now we have the force place thing. Can I force place like something through a piece of concrete, like an offshore pump, and remove the concrete and remove the ice?
Potentially, you could in that regard. Then.
Yeah. Then it doesn't really need to melt. It doesn't have to melt. But yeah. Because there are definitely going to be spots where you're like, nope, I want an offshore pump right about here in the middle of my C block, my ice block. It shall be called ice block from now forth. Yeah. So yeah, things used to melt, which was annoying to deal with. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Heat pipes can go underground or under ice, so you need to wrap the belts and pipes around them whilst building. Often this means the machine will need access to belts, pipes, and heat, but all the belts and pipes also need access to heat, and this could lead to some nice little puzzles and some very interesting builds. Yeah, this is,
It's a very overly elaborate way of saying a giant headache. I mean, just look at this mess.
yeah, it is a giant, headache is correct. Yeah. Everything.
Just think trying to, I mean, it's hard enough cramming stuff around into a beacon build. Just imagine cramming heat pipes as well, which can't easily weave around all this stuff.
Well, it's like needing. It's like if you've ever played with a mod that every single item required heating. No, it required fuel. So, like every item was a burner entity. It's similar to that.
Chemical plants too, direct fed from the ocean.
Yeah. Oh, there's Mojo's reactor.
Fusion reactor.
Yeah, this is a giant headache. A massive, massive, massive headache. Yeah.
Also note the music.
It's calming, go critical. It's different.
It's that'll be the Aquilo soundtrack.
Oh, well, oh, there you go. See, I haven't really gone to Aquilo. I understand the mechanic, but I haven't spent time and effort here yet because the other challenges prior to this are challenges that need to be sorted first.
If you remember in the music FFF, we saw a sheet of paper which had Aquilo.
Oh, it did.
Aquilo 2 and 3.
Yeah, it did.
So this will be one of those.
Yeah, it did. Okay. Resources. Aquilo is noticeably lacking basic resources. On all the other planets, you can land with nothing and build your way to another rocket. On Aquilo, if you land with nothing, you can do nothing. But what do you have? You have solar at 1%. Oh my gosh.
Very useful.
Well, it means a solar panel is normally, 42 kilowatts, which means a solar panel is now going to be 420 watts?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't think that's enough for an assembler.
No, it isn't. Not without efficiency modules.
Like, you might be able to run an inserter per solar panel. Yeah. Yeah.
Or just run them really slowly.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. You know, you're very, very slowly. Yep. Ammoniacal solution from the ocean directly. Crude oil from resource nodes. Lithium brine from resource nodes. And fluorine gas from resource nodes. Solar output is truly pathetic. Only 1% of Navas. You need some solar panels to kickstart your first few machines. So efficient modules go a long way in setting up that process. Ammoniacal solution can be gained via an offshore pump with a powered heated chemical plant, so you can split ice into ammonia. Ice can be melted for water, which is needed for any power beyond the pathetic solar. It can also be useful for extending your iceberg. Ammonia can be used with crude oil to make solid fuel, or combined with solid fuel to make rocket fuel. Crude oil can be collected with a pump jack in a few places where it floats up to the ocean, floats up from the ocean depths. It can be combined with ammonia to make fuel or refine the usual way, which can be a useful sink for excess ice and water. Excess ice and water? Okay. So it means ammonia is going to be very important. We're going to want a lot of it. Okay.
I don't know if you've been able to notice it or not, but the offshore pump in that picture isn't frozen when everything else is. It really stands out.
Yeah.
Because the pipe and the tank next to it are both very much look frozen.
But it also means that offshore pumps don't need heat.
And the solar panel too.
Yeah, they mentioned solar panels somewhere in here that don't need heating or accumulators.
Yeah. But it says you need it to kickstart, so it makes sense that the solar panel's unaffected.
Yeah. Solar panels are absorbing the heat from the solar rays. This is why they don't need heating.
Yeah.
And accumulators, they're big batteries. Of course they get hot. They're always charging and discharging. Yeah.
Have you heard, in bright sunlight, in the real world, just as a tangent topic, have you heard how hot underneath solar panels can get?
I'm going to go with here in Australia, like 60C.
Yeah, basically 60 to 70 degrees. They
Yeah.
actually get hot to the point where they need cooling potentially,
Um,
and it's actually dangerous to be underneath a large solar array in full sunlight.
yeah, yeah. Like I know that I've got solar here. I got solar a couple of years ago, and um, yeah, it's definitely cooler than having the sun directly on the tin roof. Um, but yeah, I can definitely see like the heat waves coming off the back of the solar panels during the middle of summer. And the top of the solar panels, and just like it's summer, but heat waves coming off everything. It's pretty much how it goes here in Australia. But yes, yeah, back of solar panels can get very, very hot. Useful for things like making hot water. Funnily enough, yeah, the whole side tangent there. Okay, so crude oil can be collected, and we turn that into standard fuel. Lithium brine floats up to the surface in some spots and requires a pump jack. It's used to make lithium, which we will need for a variety of things, including the planet's science pack. And fluorine gas bubbles up in some places. This also requires a pump jack. Fluorine is used to make coolant, which is an essential part of this planet's industry. Cryogenics. Coolant is used in a few things, but initially it's only used for Aquilo's science pack. The cryogenic science pack, which is made in a cryogenic plant. Oh, look, it's the third magic building that we saw
That we've seen several times.
like 4 years ago now or something. Yeah. Now I have to say, when I saw the animation, especially with the big door opening and then its little half open spit out thing, I was like, oh, okay, so this uses like loader mechanics, and it just all the items spit out the door.
But no, it doesn't.
Turns out no.
I think the movement is equivalent to the. I actually didn't even think that. I thought it was equivalent to. It reminded me of the Foundry, and it was equivalent to the sort of movement of the Foundry.
Yeah, but like it's a big door. It's like a big door.
True.
That like it's
Oh yeah, and it does actually do. It does actually sort of spit things out. So
yeah.
I can see why. I didn't see that before. I just saw it going up and down.
Yeah, well, it's a big door. Like the players, like it's big enough the player could walk into the building. Yeah, I could definitely see that being a mod where rather than having the good old warehouses that we could walk in and build a factory inside, we're gonna have one of these buildings with a door like this. Yeah, yeah. So the cryogenic plant is a powerful 5x5 structure, which is massive, with a base crafting speed of 2. It doesn't have any base productivity because it deals with a lot of looping recipes, but it does have 8 module slots, so extra productivity modules can be used for recipes that support it. Early cryogenic plant sketches by Arendelle, Albert like the bottom 2, so I made something based on those. Some of the elements of the top 3 got reused in other designs. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is our Beta Lab. Parts of this were used in the Beta Lab, definitely. Spinny things on top.
It's a sort of a combination of the chemical plant and the biochamber, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Cryogenic plant line art and concept before the final turquoise paint color was chosen. Words are hard. Okay. Yeah, I like the building. But again, things are lost in details. Like the glass chamber here, right? It has things that move in it, and you just can't see them.
It just sort of disappears, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
And the tube in the middle and the mixer is sort of lost as well in the animation.
The mix is sort of there. You can sort of see stuff sloshing around.
It's just not as pronounced.
Yeah. Look, I need somebody to come to my factory. I need them to clean all the windows. I want to see the internals. Yeah. Yeah. They can grease up over time, but I need them clean at least, for my first playthrough. And then from there on, they can go to, yeah, because I'm definitely going to spend time cleaning the windows. All right. Whilst the structure can use some chemical plant recipes, mainly focus on recipes that need cold temperatures and a lot of precision. Some examples of cooling, the cryogenic science plant, fusion power cells, quantum processors, and some other late game items. And I did turn that one down. It's still loud. Yes. So if anybody's ever played space exploration and had to deal with the cooling loops of the cooling towers, good news is that did make it into space age. Slightly different, but yeah, you're gonna have coolant. And you need to cool the coolant. Yeah, it's an interesting challenge. So we have quantum processors, the final tier of circuits. They need something from each of the new planets. They are needed to make the fusion reactors you saw in the Fridafax 420 cryogen plants with hidden structures in that post. So, Mojo.
That's yes.
Your fusion reactors.
Yes.
You now need to have cryogen plants inside your fusion field. When we finally
this
get
is
to
the
final
so
picture.
this will be the building that reprocesses the coolant
Yes.
that we see in the question mark.
Yes.
It completes the cycle.
Yeah. That's gonna be a challenge. Yeah. Also, how the hell are we feeding that? Or does it just magically? Yeah, I'm guessing it just magically takes in hot and outputs cold.
Well, yeah, because they say it's a looping recipe. That's why it doesn't have productivity. So it suggests it's a closed loop.
Yeah. Also suggests it doesn't need like an input, like a piece of iron or a piece of copper or something else to cool the coolant. It just apply electricity, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, potentially just apply more coolant, top it up with coolant or something, and then it's all good.
Yep. So we have quantum processors, which are going to be probably worse than blue circuits. Yeah, probably worse.
I mean, if that video is making quantum processors, we can see blue circuits and swizzle sticks are going into it, and the fungola plate.
Well, we have
Oleum plate.
We have the is that fungola plate? Yeah, that's the fungola plate. So that's the oh god, I never remember what the item was. I can't remember what it's called.
That stuff.
That stuff. Yeah. It starts with H. Holium.
Holium. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have holium. We have blue circuits. We have blue things, which is again from.
The sticks are Fagola. They're the Watsits.
Yes, definitely Watsits.
Yes.
Watsits, some of course, and the black things are from Volcanus.
Yes.
Yes.
Jiggers.
The blue things are. I want to say high-speed connectors, but I've been playing Satisfactory. It's definitely not high-speed connectors.
It's not what is it in Satisfactory? The gold stuff.
Deuterium wire.
Caterium. I was going to say super because I know Caterium.
No, it's not Deuterium either. Yeah, I can't remember. There's so many new things. I need to reboot the brain into Factorio mode and try and relearn all the new recipes because yes, there's going to be a lot of them. Yeah, I can't remember. I know it's not superconductors, but it's adjacent to superconductors. Yeah, maybe it is a superconductor. I can't remember. So then we get on to...
It is superconductor.
It is superconductor?
Just fully...
Okay. Railguns! So this is how you fix a mojo. You take a railgun, and you just have him stand in front of it, just to see if it works. Yeah, it works.
Very effective. Super effective.
So the rail...
Screechy sound.
It does make a screechy sound. Yeah. The railgun turret requires both ammo and electricity to function. Has a range of 40 and the damage, well, it starts at 10,000. It damages everything in a continuous line, like a railgun should. So be careful not to stand on the wrong side of it. Mojo, can you stand in front of this and just confirm it works? Yeah.
Just within a 45-degree arc either side.
Yeah, it does look about 45 degrees. So yes, railgun, concept art, line art and concept by Arundel. The pipe connections in the design because it was intended to be a turret that required coolant to function. Oh my god, that sounds horrible. So glad that was removed. So the turret also has a 3x5 base. It has a fixed direction like a flamethrower turret, but the attack cone is narrower than 9 degrees. It looks like about 60-ish. 60-ish by going by this animation. Yep. So you can only build it in 4 directions to create blind spots. So you can build a railgun turrets in 8 directions. And then we have this lovely animation here.
It's a beautiful chorus.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. There's also a handheld version, was very effective against demolishers, but that's not the main use for the turret version. What do you think you need the turret for? I'll let you speculate. I have a feeling this video here is a bit of a giveaway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
space spiders or something.
yeah, space spiders. Hey, I was right after all. We get space spiders.
I mean, with the biter egg stuff, or the biter science stuff from the previous FFF, maybe space spiders is a thing.
Obviously, we're gonna have space spiders. Okay, you need rail guns. Okay, that do 10,000 damage each. Look at how fast these guys are firing off. Space spiders have lots of hit points. That's my takeaway.
Space behemoths, even.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So conclusion. Aquilo is a challenging but a very unique planet. After spending a few hours getting absorbed in Aquilo's unique building patterns, it feels really weird to go back to any other planets. By comparison, everything else suddenly looks so simple. It's a feeling that struck me after playing on my very first Aquilo gameplay prototype, but the same feeling hits me after every playtesting LAN we've done to. It's quite easy to accidentally underpower your base, which can lead to lack of heat and subsequently freeze half your base. When this happens to you, I invite you to calm down, take a deep breath, and turn off alt mode and appreciate the view. The Frozen Factory is a sight you get often, so enjoy it for the moment, and then work out how the hell you're going to power everything back up. Yeah. That is the end of the Friday Facts. It also...
Sure is.
It also, and we sort of knew this last week when they announced that they're changing the NDA so that people can talk about the end game as of, the NDA drops on the 14th, which means you're streaming on the 15th, correct?
Yes.
And I'm also streaming on the 15th, because that's when the NDA drops, and then we can start actually exploring and answering everybody's questions, because there have been many questions about our thoughts, my thoughts, your thoughts on Space Age.
Prez?
Yep, and my answer is always, like, I need to give you context, and I can't give you context because it's behind the NDA. So, yes, it does mean that, yes, as of next week, there are going to be videos on Space Age and streams on Space Age. And spoilers be warned. There will be spoilers probably from day zero, probably from hour zero. Even though it doesn't release.
Zero.
Yeah, even though it doesn't release for another week, there will probably be spoilers. So be warned before you start clicking on things. But Aquilo is a very different planet to the previous planets, and I do like the fact that Space Age, every planet is going to be unique. Every planet has a different mechanic.
They're very unique, and they all bring something new. You're not doing the same thing on any planet.
It is definitely like getting Factorio and then installing some sort of overhaul mod to Factorio. Like every overhaul mod, like I said C block early on when talking about Aquilo. Every mod adds something. Well, every planet adds something like one of the mod packs. Something that you're going to have to deal with, something that you're going to have to, work out. Like in the case of Aquilo, it's you need to make more land by converting ice, an awful lot of ice, an awful lot of water to make more ice to have somewhere to build. Also means that the terrain is yours to pick from. Sure, you've got the standard Factorio issues of logistics and stuff, so you're going to have to move fuel here to, make sure you have enough fuel to power up any nuclear reactors, and then you'll eventually have fusion reactors, which will hopefully solve that heating problem. But yeah, each planet is very unique, and in both the planet and the challenges, and that is an awful lot of assemblers to make an awful lot of ice. Yeah. And each of them also have a lot of new resources and a lot of new challenges you need to work through. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I have to admit, I've already sunk an awful lot of hours into the expansion, just learning the mechanics, not even playing the game, just learning the new stuff. So, anything else you want to add?
No, that is it. Like, we've seen the final planet, we've seen the fusion reactor, even though if it was just briefly. I think that's tied up all the little loose ends. And we get to fill in all the blanks in a few days' time.
Well, the only loose end is whether or not Mojo gets space robot biters on the Aquilo planet that charge via lightning. Because so far we've been we've heard about the pentapods that were pentapody, and we've heard about demolishers, okay, and we heard that Aquilo had the space brains from many Friday Facts ago, the very first teaser Friday Facts about space ages coming, and then the space brains have been cancelled, so they're not on Aquilo anymore. Obviously, they froze to death. But that still leaves Fagola. Fagola could have something.
Good.
Mojo has robots of death that charge via lightning.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. Probably won't have heat
One can
pipes.
hope.
Probably won't have heat pipes. But could have robots. There is the reactor. With one single
Robots and rubbish.
cryogen plant to do the fuel refactoring. Actually, that has an assembler right there. So cooling reprocessing does need some sort of input. There you
Yeah,
go.
you can see it. It's a closed loop.
See this input from this assembler? That's going to the cryogen refueling heating thingy-majiggy bob?
Yes.
This is adding something to the loop.
Yeah, and that's what I figured was that it's injecting something.
Yeah. So, apart from space robots, predictions for next week's Friday Facts?
I don't know what's left. What's the date of next one? Oh, it's just before the release, isn't it?
It is just before the release.
So it's going to be...
It is 3 days before the release. Release on Monday, it comes out on Friday.
I think it might be a Kavorax one saying thank you for, just a general thanks for everyone, support and kind of thing.
It might
or
be.
Or maybe it's just the little things.
Sure. They could throw in a lot of these are all the quality of life things that couldn't have their own Friday Facts that we're throwing in, like a mass dump of
scrapped.
Oh, I like that one. Things that didn't make it. Also, I actually predicting the exact release time because we have a release date, but we don't have a release time.
That's true. That's true as well.
So I'm going to throw a release time in there as well because I had the competition that I would buy somebody a copy of the DLC, and we know a release date, so we know that I have a selection of people that could be a winner. I think there's about 3 or 4 people that have the right date in our great long list of spreadsheets of everybody who entered. But we don't know what time it's releasing, so we need to narrow that down by who got the closest time. So yes, I think a release time is a possibility. This is all green. Oh no, there's lights in there. Okay. Just wondering if reactors suddenly got a green glow from the steam output. Yes, so I'm release time, and maybe a thank you along with I think the thank you will get held for the week after.
Yeah, or it's part of the launch thing.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what's being cut.
What's being cut, and also I wonder if we're going to get a Monday Facts. Because it's happened before, where we've had a non-Friday, we've had a Friday Facts on not a Friday. For special releases, so I'm wondering if we're going to get a Monday Facts. Tuesday Facts? Maybe? Maybe they'll just hold it for another Friday. I don't know. Either way, we're going to leave this here. Don't forget down the link below, down in the links below in the description, you'll find where I'm going to be streaming, where Mojo's going to be streaming on Tuesday. I'm making sure that I'm going to keep everything either spoiler-free or marked with spoilers. Mojo, are you keeping everything spoiler-free?
I will just be giving overviews of the different planets but I'll be generally within the first 3 planets, so I won't be really hitting Aquilo or much beyond that.
So Mojo may or may not have spoilers, all depends on when you join him on stream. Yeah.
And it'll be talking about new mechanics, particularly things like my Make Everything machine. There'll be stuff to cover there.
Thoroughly changed, yeah.
Rail blueprint stuff. Things like that.
Okay. Well,
and then we'll be going into getting started on the different planets.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation.
That's a rabbit hole.
That's a deep rabbit hole. Very, very deep rabbit hole. But yes, and I'll be keeping everything, either marked as spoilery or spoiler free for the first, week until we actually have the full release and everybody else can get their hands on it. Anyway, with all that said and done, we're going to be calling this video here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you back here for, the release, actually, this time. It won't be for the next Friday Facts. We'll be talking, Tuesday.
There's the embargo, but yeah, the next FFF, then Tuesday after the release.
Yeah, we have the release. So we'll see everybody here for the release, the NDA under NDA release, where we can start talking about things that's not quite released yet, and then we'll have the Friday Facts next, because Mojo's totally with it. Anyway, all that said and done, as always, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye bye.